Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be making this flavorful and delicious vegetarian cook-up rice recipe. Now, not only is this a great vegetarian / vegan dish to have by itself, but it is also a great side dish to eat amongst many different dishes for this hot summer. Now, this right here can be served along barbecued meats. It can also be served with curries, with stews. The possibilities are endless. And of course, if you wanted to add chicken, beef, or any other type of protein, feel free to do that. We're going to start off in a heavy bottom pot with some oil, and we're going to heat it up on a medium to medium high heat. Once you heat it up, you're going to go in with some chopped onions and you're going to saute them until they soften slightly. And once those onions start to soften a bit after about a minute or two, you're going to go in with some finely chopped celery leaves. You're going to go in with some wiri peppers or hot pepper of your choice, some finely chopped scallions, as well as some fresh thyme leaves. Now, if you had Guyanese thyme, you can also throw that in because that is such a delicious flavor. At this point, I'm also going in with a little bit of crushed garlic, as well as some homemade green seasoning. Now, this homemade green seasoning has cilantro, culantro, some green onions, hot pepper, lots of garlic, and it has some thick leaf thyme inside. Now, once those aromatics have soaked for about 2 minutes, I'm going to be going in with a little bit of dhal or yellow split peas, and I'm going to saute this until the split peas sear with all of that flavor. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and season everything with some salt as well as some black pepper. Now, as usual, all of my ingredients and measurements will be left in the description box right below this video. So before you put this dish together, go ahead and check out the description box and it'll have all of the measurements and the ingredients right there for you. Now, once those split peas have a chance to sear and cook with all of those aromatics, it is time to go in with some water. Now, we're going to be adding in a lot of water. The reason being is because those split peas need to start to become tender. Now, I don't want them to melt all the way because if they melt all the way, then you'd be making something called khichdi, which is basically dal and rice boiled together. But we're going to have a little bit of grain left in it. So I want to cook this about halfway and then we'll add in all of the other ingredients. And after about 15 minutes of bubbling on a medium-low heat, this is what the dal looks like. You can see that the dal still has the shape, but when you mash on it slightly, it will start to give away. It still has a little bit of grain though. At this point, we can start to add other ingredients because this is exactly what we're looking for. By the end of the cooking process, the dal will cook down even more. And at this point, once the dal is cooked to your liking, you're going to go ahead and add in some washed and drained parboiled rice. And as soon as you add in the parboiled rice, you're also going to go in with some lentils, and I'm using the green lentils today that I've washed and I've added it in as well. I did not soak these lentils before cooking either. They're going to cook at the same time that the rice cooks. And once you mix in the rice and the lentils, you can start to season this a little more. I'm going to be going in with some all-purpose seasoning and use any all-purpose seasoning brand of your choice. I also have some dried parsley that I'm adding in. If you have any other types of fresh herbs that you want to add in, feel free to do so at this point. We're also going to be adding in some coconut milk. Now, I'm using canned coconut milk just because that's a little easier and more available. But of course, if you wanted to use fresh coconut milk, feel free to do so. And this is what the rice looks like after about 20 minutes of cooking. As you all can see, it is still a little bit liquidy and the rice is still not fully done. The parboiled rice takes about 25 minutes to cook in total. So just keep on watching it to see when it is done and when it is tender. And about halfway into the cooking process, I'm going to be adding in some fresh chopped kale. Now, kale tends to be a tougher type of spinach or a type of green, so that's why I'm adding it in halfway. If you're using something light like a baby spinach, you could add that in closer to the end of the cooking process. And at this point, I'm also going to be going in with a little bit more water because I noticed that this mixture is drying up a little bit and I want to make sure that everything boils very well. And of course, I like a wet cook-up rice. I do not like a dry cook-up rice. So this is what the cook-up rice looks like 5 minutes later after I added in that extra water and all of that kale. As you all can see, it's thickened up even more and the kale has wilted down very nicely. So at this point, we're going to be going in with all of our beans. The beans that I'm choosing to use today is some channa or chickpeas, as well as some red beans or red kidney beans. If you have any other types of beans on hand, you can feel free to use any of that. Pigeon peas would also be very good in this. And I'm also going to be going in with some chopped scallions on top of those beans. Now, this is a little something that my family always does whenever we make cook-up rice. We always add in a little bit of butter throughout the cooking process. The reason being is that butter just gives it a nice little flavor, a nice little slight creaminess, and it plays together very well with all of the other flavors. So I'm going to mix everything in here and I'm going to cover it again and I'm going to allow it to cook for about another 5 to 10 minutes until everything marries together and the rice is done cooking. And after about another 10 minutes, this is what the final cook-up rice looks like. As you all can see, it is absolutely delicious looking. You see all of those beans, all of those veggies that we added in. This right here is definitely a protein-packed meal. Definitely very healthy, especially if you wanted something vegan and quick and easy. And I would also like to mention that if you want a dry cook-up rice, do not follow my water measurements. What I do is I keep on adding water until everything is cooked basically, and I leave it nice and soupy like this. But if you wanted it dry, then you would only add in enough water to boil the rice. So follow the rice package directions. But here is the final cook-up rice, steaming and delicious. If you all enjoy this recipe today, please go ahead and give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you are not subscribed yet. Make sure you click that red subscribe button and click the bell notification icon right next to it so you never miss out on any of my newest videos. And of course, drop those comments down below and let me know what I should be cooking up next.